welcome to Phillip Island, Victoria in Australia. What a setting we have for this great sporting contest, the Little Penguin Sea to Dune race. Nervous moments always as they gather on the beach, the tension mounting, and away they go. There's the defending champion, wearing his familiar navy blue and white, great waddling style. Another pre-race favourite though, losing touch with the pack. Maybe that's why. A few too many fish in the day's feeding. There's a familiar face, Skip McIntyre, 8 times a champion back in the 90s, a very successful coach now, keeping a keen eye on proceedings. This the leading group, 1 or 2 still able to put on a show for the camera, others just ploughing straight over it. Some resorting to shortcuts. Sad that cheating has crept into this beautiful sport. The judges will have a look at that. But up at the front, the pace is relentless, closing in on those sand dunes that will offer a bed for the night. The fatigue starting to tell. Who's got the finishing kick up on the outside? What a turn of pace from that one, whichever one it is. No answer from the rest, and he takes victory. What a win. There we are, into the Burrow, building an extension with his winnings, and back tomorrow to try and defend his title here on Phillip Island.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition tonight of Live Penguin TV. So tonight we are bringing the penguins to you all, and we're also raising money for the Good Friday appeal. We're joining you from Phillip Island, from here at the Penguin Parade. So I would just like to start by acknowledging that we are here on the lands of the Bunurong. So the Bunurong were the first people here on Phillip Island. They've been coming here for thousands of years, caring for this beautiful country that we are on tonight. Very shortly we will be seeing the world's smallest species of penguin, our little penguins, coming out of the water and crossing the beach and heading back to their burrows. My name's Megan. I'm going to be telling you all about the penguins and also chatting to some very special guests we have tonight. And I do also have joining me tonight Ranger Viv. Viv, do you want to come in and tell us what you'll be doing tonight?
Hi everyone. Like usual, I am going to be monitoring the comments and hopefully finding some good penguin questions for Megan and questions for our guests possibly. And stay tuned if you want to hear some answers for how many penguins we had last night. So give me your guesses and we'll see how we go.
Great, thank you, Viv. Now, I know we have a lot of people watching who might not be here in Victoria. You might be somewhere else around Australia or around the world. So do let us know where you're joining from. But you might not be familiar with the Good Friday appeal. So over this Easter long weekend, particularly Good Friday, which is tomorrow, the Good Friday appeal raises money for the Royal Children's Hospital here in Melbourne, who helps a lot of children and families through some very difficult times in their lives. So we are shaking a virtual tin tonight for the Good Friday appeal, and you can find the link in the description of our live stream tonight to click on there and donate and help us in the Phillip Island community and all of you watching to reach our donation goals and see how much money we can raise for the Good Friday appeal. Now, we did have a patient from the Royal Children's Hospital who is going to be joining us called Novalee. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it tonight, so I would just like to give her a big shout out, and I hope that she is watching the Penguins with us tonight. But joining us, we do tonight have the lovely Amelia and her mum, Nadia. So I'm going to bring them up on the screen. There you are. Hello. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hi, everyone.
It's lovely to have you guys here. Now, you guys have dealt a lot with the Royal Children's Hospital through your journey, Amelia. So we'd love it if you could tell us a little bit about that, Nadia.
No worries. So we have been a part of the Royal Children's Hospital now for 11 months. Amelia was diagnosed last year with leukemia. Sorry, she's a bit tired at the moment.
It's getting a bit late.
Yeah. So she was diagnosed with leukemia last year in May, and we spent quite a few of the first months at the Royal Children's day in and day out. They have been a godsend to us. They have, I say it all the time, they saved my daughter's life. It really is as simple as that. Without them, I don't know where we would be. The care that they give to children is just absolutely above and beyond. We can't speak highly enough of the hospital, of the nurses, the doctors, the volunteers, everyone you come across every single day. It is by far the best children's hospital, we think, in the entire world, and they deserve all of the donations and they deserve all of the credit they get because they're just amazing.
Yeah, we're very, very lucky to have them here in Melbourne, so close to us here on Phillip Island and to you guys, and that they've been able to support you through some really tough times. And I hear Amelia's been an extremely brave girl through it all.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And
what was that?
Saying that she does cry a lot of the time that we're at the hospital.
I cried the whole hospital down.
She did cry.
Understandable.
Yep.
That's fine, Amelia. I cry a lot too, don't you worry.
There's a lot of people at the hospital that help to look after you when you're sad and when you're scared about getting things done. So, yeah, we always have a lot of help when we're there.
Yeah, and it's a really great cause to donate to. So we hope people are clicking that link and donating some money to the Good Friday appeal. And I can't ignore the fact that we have some penguins coming out of the water and crossing the beach.
The penguins are coming.
Yeah, Amelia, can you see them?
Oh, hang on, Mum's going to put them on her phone so we can see them.
They're waddling up across the beach right now.
I'm going to take this little gap that we've got to tell you that last night we had 2,579 penguins last night.
Whoa. That's so many penguins. Do you guys want to make a guess as to how many penguins you think are going to come in tonight? What do you think, Amelia?
Hey, how many do you think come in tonight? How many penguins?
100.
100.
100? I think there might be 100 in this group we have right here.
I'm going to say 2,953.
Well, I thought of saying 1,253.
Amazing number.
Fantastic guess.
Right
I think you're
guesses.
going to be pretty close tonight. Can you guys see them now, these little penguins waddling up across the beach?
I can't even see it.
Hang on.
That's okay. And you've been to see the penguins before, haven't you, Amelia?
Yeah, you went last year. Who did you
Yeah,
go
a little
with?
while ago.
My sister.
Oh, that would have been a lovely time out. They do come out quite late, so it's difficult to stay awake. So we're glad you've been able to stay awake to join us tonight and watch some little penguins. Is there anything that you want to know about the penguins? Because I'm sure everyone watching at home wants to know everything about the penguins. So what do you want to know, Amelia?
No, penguins. What did you ask me before? Oh my God, they're so cute.
They eat fish.
They do eat fish. Amelia was asking me what they eat.
They do. They eat little fish. So if you've ever had a pizza with some little sardines or some anchovies, they also eat jellyfish, and they might eat squid as well.
And what are their little wings called?
Floppers.
So close. Flippers.
I think we should call them floppers from now on.
Floppers. I do. I mean, penguins are floppers a little bit, aren't they? They flop a bit.
They do a little bit. And can you see the way that they walk?
We can. They're waddling.
They
aren't
waddle. Can you do a little penguin waddle sitting there?
Doing my penguin walk.
They? Can't stand up, but you can move your body.
You can do it on the spot.
I can only do this.
That's perfect. And I know we were talking about before, when the penguins come onto land, they sometimes have a bit of a penguin party, because when they don't see each other out at sea, they come onto land and they love to chat and hang out, and they make quite a bit of noise. Do you guys know what noise a penguin makes?
I have absolutely no idea.
No! Do you want me to teach you?
We would
They
love
like
that. No, let's have a listen. Let's have a listen to what noise they make.
Well, so when they're in the water, they go... Do you want to try it? Then they can call out and find each other, and then when they're on land, they have a lot of different calls. So one thing they might do is they might go... That was pretty good. Oh, fantastic.
Great job.
You're going to have to be careful. You might think you're a penguin, or you might have to come live here in the penguin parade.
I think she's going to be doing that noise for the next couple of days straight now, actually.
Perfect. I love it. And we did mention the penguin numbers, and right now we do have someone counting all these penguins as they cross the beach. So make your guesses, people in the comments, and everyone at home, how many you think came in that first group. And Amelia, do you think you might want to count penguins when you're older? Does it sound like fun? Yeah? Maybe you could be a penguin ranger?
We absolutely loved Phillip Island, so that's definitely on our list to go there again. And we'll go and watch the penguins all together.
Whoa, yeah.
That would be amazing. Now, is there any other questions you had, Amelia, about the penguins?
Know anything about the penguins?
Yep.
What would you like to know?
Where
Where do they live?
Well, let me show you. We might follow some of these little guys because they're going back to their burrow. So a penguin digs a hole in the ground and they make their little nest in there where they lay their eggs and raise their chicks. But sometimes we put out little boxes that they like to live in as well. So if you see where the camera's gone around there, we have these little wooden boxes, and those are penguin burrows. So that's where they're going back to tonight, going back to their burrows where they might be going back to see their partners, do a bit of burrow renovation, digging it, bringing some nesting material in, making it nice and cozy for the next breeding season. So that's where they're going back to.
South Pole.
What was that? The North Pole? Our penguins don't quite go that far.
They definitely like the cold, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, ow.
All right. Is there any other penguin questions or anything else you guys want to talk about before we let you go?
I personally just want to say to everyone to please dig deep in your pocket, give to the Good Friday appeal. You just don't know how important it is until it hits your life. I've always given to the Good Friday appeal every year since I started working as a teenager, but obviously now it means a lot more. The care that the hospital give to our children, that money goes to so much of that. It goes to the equipment, it goes to some of the staff that are hired to help look after our kids. Please dig deep, give all you can, because the Royal Children's Hospital is the most incredible children's hospital that we have here in Australia, and the care that they give our kids is incredible. They deserve it, our kids deserve it, and the more money we raise, it's only going to give a better opportunity and a better future to our kids.
Thank you so much. So well said. And Viv, do you want to ask that question as well?
Yeah.
We've had one last question before you guys go.
I want to know how has the Good Friday appeal and the Children's Hospital helped you and Amelia personally?
One fantastic example, there are a lovely, lovely bunch of ladies who will always have a special place in my heart. They are called Comfort First. They come to our children when they have their port accessed, when they have some scary procedures done, and they sit with our kids and they play with them, and they play with the iPads, and they bring slime, and they bring all this fun stuff to play with. And basically their aim is to comfort and distract our children. And the money raised for the Good Friday Appeal supports them and puts them in that hospital to do this for our kids. So for Amelia, having her port accessed and de-accessed, for those that don't know what a port is, it's basically an IV, we'll call it system, that sits here in her chest, which she has a large needle that's put through it, and that's where she gets all her IV chemotherapies through. That can be a very traumatic, very scary experience, especially for a child of her age. So these beautiful women come in and they spend time with our kids, and Amelia personally can't have her port accessed unless Comfort First are there. And even though it's still a traumatic experience, you know, people like Marika and Jess, I hope they're watching, they make all the difference to our children to make the whole experience just that little bit easier. And the Good Friday Appeal money goes towards keeping them employed and keeping them there for our kids. So that's one of the main examples that I absolutely love about the Good Friday Appeal.
Yeah, that's a fantastic example. Such a great cause, and something people might not think of immediately when you think of, you know, giving to help out the Royal Children's Hospital, but something that's so important. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and I'm hoping tonight that we'll raise more money than we have penguins cross the beach.
That's a good goal. I like it.
I think that's a good goal for us to set. So we might let you guys go and enjoy watching the penguins, and I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight, and hope everyone donates and contributes to the Good Friday Appeal, and we'll keep watching some penguins, so we hope you guys keep watching the penguins at home, and thank you for talking to us tonight.
Thank you very much for having us. We're going to wave to everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, so some very lovely guests we had on there to talk to us about the importance of the Good Friday Appeal and the Royal Children's Hospital. So we hope you guys keep watching the penguins with us. I know it's getting late, but we hope there's lots of little kids and families at home enjoying the penguins with us tonight. We really do enjoy bringing the penguins to you all. If you can't come and visit us, if you are at home and you still want to see the little penguins, we're very happy that you all have been able to join us. Now, Viv, I might see if while we've been chatting, have we had any questions?
Absolutely have, Megan. One very good question is, why have we got so many penguins in April?
Oh, that's a very good question, because usually we see quite high penguin numbers in spring and summer, because that's the penguins' typical breeding season. So that's normally when there's lots of food available, they're coming in, they're laying their eggs and raising their chicks. And then in winter, they're not really breeding, so they don't really have much reason to be on land. But sometimes they do something we call their autumn breeding attempt. We actually used to call this false breeding, because they used to come in autumn and they would do a little bit of courtship, do a little bit of burrow renovating, and they wouldn't really lay eggs. They'd kind of start and then be like, oh no, it's not the right time of year, and head back out to sea for those long fishing trips, spending weeks or months out at sea. But in recent years, when we're having warmer temperatures over autumn, the penguins are like, oh, this is great, there's lots of food, nice and close, we're going to breed through autumn as well. So this quite often happens when we have some penguins on the highway, that the penguins start to get ready and breed in autumn. So it'll be interesting to see whether they continue on and do an autumn breeding attempt, or whether they're just coming in, getting a feel for it, doing some renovating, some courtship, and then maybe it won't happen. So we'll see. Hopefully in the next month or so we might have some little penguins laying some eggs. and then maybe some chicks hanging around. But it isn't the usual time of year for them to breed, but I think last week we had a night where there was over 3,000 penguins. Is that right, Viv?
We did. It was crazy.
It's been insane penguin numbers. To put that in perspective, usually over Easter we have maybe 300, 400 penguins in a usual year. You think that's about right, Viv?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so it's usually a lot fewer. So, we're not complaining that there's lots of food nice and close by for our little penguins, that they're able to do those shorter foraging trips and maybe even have a little bit of an extra breeding season. We have had years where they've bred through summer, had their little break for their molt, and then continued on right through autumn. And it does quite often happen after we've had maybe not so good regular breeding season, like they're trying to make up for it by having this autumn breeding attempt. So it'll be very interesting to see what these little guys get up to in the next couple of months.
So,
and
sorry.
You go for it.
So Jacqueline has asked, what is our estimate for today's penguin count then?
Oh, that's a difficult one. You said, what was it last night, Viv? 2,500?
Yep, 2,579.
Oh, I'd say with the number we've already had coming in, it's going to be similar, but I'll be honest, I haven't been here much the last few nights or the last week. So, Viv, maybe you have a better idea than me?
Oh, I think it'll be similar again.
Yeah,
Looking
I
at
think
this,
so.
it tends to be similar day to day.
Make sure you get your guesses in, and when we know, we'll pop it in the comments and we'll let you guys know how many we have, because we do count the penguins for 50 minutes. So what time did we start the count?
We started the count at 6:21 tonight.
6:21. So we'll count the penguins until 7:01. No, 7:11.
11.
I knew I was going to get that right. 7:11. I think we could have just made it an hour and made it easier for everyone, but it's 50 minutes. So at 7:11, then we'll finish the count and we'll be able to add up the numbers and we'll know how many penguins have crossed the beach. And we do just have the one ranger up near the main stands with the pair of binoculars counting these little guys as they cross the beach. So it's not an easy job, but we have been counting the penguins using that method since 1968. So we do use that same method over all of those years so that we can compare the numbers. And something else the penguins might still be doing this time of year, and I think I saw it happening when I had the camera over here earlier. So let's follow these little guys, and I want to see if we can find a molting penguin. There's one. So
late.
it is a little late. Oh, my camera's got a bit out of control. There we go. So once the penguins finish their summer regular breeding season, they do have to molt to get ready for those longer times they're spending out at sea in winter. So because penguins have very special waterproof feathers, there is about 10,000 teeny tiny feathers on one penguin, and they all interlock together to form a waterproof barrier. So on a healthy penguin, water should never actually touch their skin. So once a year they have to more than double their body weight before spending around 2 to 3 weeks on land, losing and replacing all of their feathers, because when they're not waterproof they can't go out there to sea, they're not going to be able to stay afloat, so they have to fast for that time. So this penguin here is looking a bit scruffy and a bit chunky. Do you reckon, Viv? I reckon
I think
he's getting ready to
very
molt.
chunky. And you can see his feathers look a bit more dull in their colour.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
most of our penguins have finished molting now, but there are still a few late molters, as we call them, or if you see a real chunky one, we like to call those certified chunkers, because sometimes they are so fat that they can't even stand upright to walk along the beach, which is absolutely hilarious. We have some more penguins on the Penguin Highway. So we'll keep an eye out for any chunky penguins walking up along the beach and along the highway. But most of our penguins should be finished molting by now. They usually molt through February and March. But if you do come out to the penguin parade, you'll see the remnants of that molt. You'll see feathers strewn outside of burrows, looking almost sometimes like a penguin's exploded with the number of feathers that are out there, because they just have so many of these teeny tiny little feathers. But most of these guys now are set for the next year of being out at sea, because they do spend 80% of their life out in the ocean. So a big chunk of that time where they need to be nice and warm and waterproof. We'll get back to the main camera there. And I might see, do we have more questions, Viv?
I actually don't. I don't know what everyone's doing with the questions tonight. So.
I think everyone's donating to the Good Friday.
Oh, absolutely. That's it. I absolutely.
Clicking on that
What's a good
link.
question?
I can keep talking about penguins without questions if you need.
All right, I see.
What's your question, Viv?
I didn't have one yet.
What do you want to know?
I want to know is how many penguins are sitting on the rocks right now, Megan? What are your counting skills like?
Oh, I haven't counted the penguins for a while. You're putting me on the spot there. Yeah. I'm going to say maybe 45.
Yeah, I reckon that sounds pretty good. bit lower than I would have gone.
Okay, can someone count them for me? I'm going to keep the camera. Actually, maybe I lie. I won't keep the camera here because there's penguins on the highway.
Count and get back to us.
And see how wrong I am. Thank you, Vivian. And we do have some more chunky penguins walking along here. And if you're a first time viewer of live Penguin TV, we are watching the world's smallest species of penguin. They are called little penguins. So that is the name of the species. We don't just call them that affectionately because they're so small. They are the smallest of all 18 species. So this is as big as they get. They only grow to be about 33 centimeters or 1 foot tall. And they only weigh about 1 kilo. So they are the only type of penguin that we have here in Australia. And we're actually lucky enough here on Phillip Island to have the largest colony of little penguins. So we actually now have around 40,000 of these little penguins living up here on the Sunland Peninsula. So they're not all right here at the penguin parade. This is only about 10% of the penguins we have in our whole colony here. So when you come to see these little penguins, you actually help look after around 40,000 little penguins, because we are a conservation organisation. We are all about looking after our wildlife here at Phillip Island Nature Parks and at the Penguin Parade. And we do want to keep an eye out for other wildlife. We don't just have penguins here. We might see a wallaby or a goose, or if we're lucky, even a little eastern barred bandicoot. And I want to tell you about them because they're very quick, and if we see one run across the screen, you guys might see it before I see it. And they're kind of about the size of a small rabbit, but they have a long pointy nose, pointy ears, and a long tail and little stripes across their bottom. And they were actually classified as extinct in the wild. And we've actually been able to introduce them here onto Phillip Island since we've become fox free to help protect them and save them from extinction. They've now, end of last year, they were delisted from extinct in the wild to just endangered, which is an incredible feat, not something that happens very often. So keep your eyes peeled for the little eastern barred bandicoots. They are very, very quick little critters. So do tell us in the comments if you happen to spot one.
Oh, I've got a good question.
Yes.
What is protecting them from foxes?
Oh, that is a good question. So, foxes, when we're talking about foxes, we're talking about the European red fox, which was introduced to Australia with European settlement. And they're not meant to be here. So animals like our penguins don't have any natural defense against them, which is why a lot of small mammal species, particularly like our bandicoots or ground nesting birds like little penguins and short-tailed shearwaters, are really vulnerable to these land-based predators, which we don't naturally have in Australia. So it's really hard to keep foxes out of wildlife areas because they're quite good climbers and diggers. There are, for example, some areas where bandicoots have been introduced and a predator-proof fence has been put around, but the fences get damaged by other things like wombats and echidnas, and the foxes get in. So that's where fox-free islands like Phillip Island are really helpful in trying to protect some of those animals because it's pretty much going to be impossible now to get rid of foxes from the mainland. But where we have an area like Phillip Island, it is possible to eradicate them. So we're actually the largest populated island that has managed to do so, but there are several other oh, there's a bandicoot. There he is on the highway camera. I don't know if you guys can see him. I'll try and zoom in. And he's probably going to run away. There we go. That's a little Eastern Bar Bandicoot. How exciting. Perfect timing, little guy. Thanks for that. So he's digging around in the ground, looking for little insects, grubs, tubers, worms, things like that. Smelling with his little nose and then digging a little hole and sticking his nose in and getting the food out. And I think they are just the most gorgeous little animal. And they are don't have a very good defense against predators. They're quite sweet little things. I've seen them walk up to a penguin before, just like, hey, what are you doing? What are you? And the penguin's just gone, wah! And the bandicoots go, oh, okay, and run away. So they are quite vulnerable little critters. And where's he gone? I think I've lost him.
All right. Do we have any Easter bilbies with our bandicoots?
We don't have any bilbies, just the Easter barred bandicoot.
Oh, that's a Stephen Worthy joke. Oh, I love it.
But I don't think I finished answering your first question. Oh, there's the bandicoot again. I'm just going to keep trying to answer it and then get distracted. So here on Phillip Island, we've actually had quite a big island-wide approach to getting rid of the foxes, doing things like baiting and trapping, even using fox detection dogs who are able to sniff out the foxes to help us find them and remove them. And now we've been completely fox free since 2017. There's been no signs of a fox since 2015. And if you're coming onto Phillip Island, you actually might see a little camera on the bridge. And this is finally answering the question of how we stop the foxes getting onto the island, is that we can't stop them getting across the bridge, but the water around us provides a really good barrier. And then that camera on the bridge actually is designed with two little laser beams so that if one's broken, not the other, it takes a photo. And that'll go off to our rangers to have a look. They can be like, oh, there's just someone walking their dog. Oh, that's a fox crossing the bridge. We've got to go out and find and remove it. So we make sure that we know if there are any foxes getting across the bridge. We're pretty sure they can't swim across. The current's a bit too strong here. But if we do have any fox sightings, we still have our fox detection dogs who will go out and find those foxes so that we can remove them from our environment to help protect our gorgeous little penguins and our little Easter barred bandicoots as well. A very good question, which I hope that I did eventually answer.
I think so.
And I'm so excited we actually got to see
I know.
a little bandicoot up nice and close. That doesn't happen very often. Usually they just zoom in past the screen and you get a little blur of a bandicoot. But I can't believe how many penguins we have coming in for this time of year. It's incredible. We might have to be keeping an eye out as well for any courtship or breeding behaviours. Just parents be warned, because they might be looking to find a new partner or catch up with their partner from the previous seasons. Our little penguins don't mate for life like some other species of penguin. They do have each season somewhere between 18 to 50% divorce rate. So sometimes they do stay together with the same partner for multiple seasons. Sometimes they do get a divorce and they have to go find a new partner and a new burrow. And that usually is to do with how well they do raising chicks. So if they did really well last season and there was lots of food and it was a really good breeding season, which it was a pretty average breeding season last year, so we'll probably see a mid-level divorce rate. But usually the better they do, the lower the divorce rate, because they're happy their partner brought back enough food, they raise their chicks. But if it's a poor season, they don't do so well, they kind of blame their partner and they're like, oh yeah, you didn't do so well, you didn't bring back enough food, I'm going to go find a new better partner to help me raise my chicks for the next season. So some of these little guys might be going back to their partners that they were with last year, or they might be going back to find a new partner, maybe gearing up for the autumn breeding, or maybe just socialising to maintain pair bonds or get ready for the next breeding season. You might have seen, if you watch our penguin burrow cam, we do have a couple little penguins who have moved into that brand new burrow that we've put out there. So you can go in and check in with those little guys and see what they're doing. Oh, and there we have some courtship. See this penguin flapping its flippers, running around the other penguin. It'll be going trying to impress that female, and there's a bit of a fight. Oh, sorry, it's a little hard to see, guys.
Oh, feisty.
I think someone's like, what are you doing? That's my girlfriend, and someone's run away. There's quite a few penguins involved in this. Bit of a penguin love triangle drama going on. Anyway, doesn't look like he got what he wanted. No special penguin cuddles. There you go. I forgot what I was talking about now.
Another question to extract away?
Please. Yeah.
So we've talked about the amazing work of the Children's Hospital. What about, do we have a penguin hospital?
We do, a very good one. We do have a wildlife hospital, not just for penguins, but for all wildlife. We do have a rehabilitation centre or a wildlife clinic out here at the Penguin Parade. So it's actually out on the other side of our car park where it's nice and quiet over there, where we do take any sick or injured wildlife that we find here on Phillip Island. Our rangers are on call every day to go out and collect any sick or injured animals. So we do look after mostly seabirds like penguins, short-tailed shearwaters, which are starting their migration very soon. Those little chicks are going to be taking off, making their way up to Alaska. So there's some incredible birds we help to look after. We did have a little bandicoot we've been looking after recently, possums, all kinds of little animals, reptiles that we are able to look after and rehabilitate for release back into the wild at our wildlife clinic. So that's something that if you come to any of our sites or attractions here at the nature parks, that money does go back into helping out with our wildlife hospital. If you still want to come and visit us, if you have some cash to spare after donating to the Good Friday appeal. And we are hoping that lots of people are coming to visit us over this Easter long weekend. We're hoping it's going to be nice and busy. We're super excited to have our first really busy Easter for a while. Wouldn't you say, Viv?
Oh, definitely. It's good to be back.
It is. It's going to be a fun one. Oh, sorry, I thought there was penguins on the highway. Maybe not too many. But we still have quite a few penguins coming in, and you might have noticed that another group coming up onto the rocks there. They come up and then they just stop there, and we've given these rocks a few names over our time with our Penguin Live TV, like the Salon or the Resting Rocks, but it is pretty much that point where the penguins feel safe because they are really scared and vulnerable crossing the beach. That's when they're most at risk of birds of prey coming down and swooping them up. And that's why they do wait till it gets dark when it's safest to come out of the water and cross the beach to get back to their burrows. But once they get up to the rocks, they feel safe. They kind of breathe a sigh of relief, and they'll have a little rest before they head back to their burrows. So I might see if I can zoom in a little bit and see what they're up to, because a lot of them are going to be preening their feathers because they have those special feathers we talked about earlier that all interlock. They have to help realign those feathers, get them all lined up, get any of that yucky ocean gunk out of their feathers. Make sure they're looking good maybe before they head home and see their partners or whatever else they're getting up to tonight. Maybe they're going out for the long weekend. I don't know what these guys get up to when we're not watching them here at the Penguin Parade and on live Penguin TV. Although you can always check out our penguins in our burrow camera that do get up to a little bit of mischief in there. They're definitely worth checking out. Ooh, try and follow these little guys making a move, and you might sometimes see penguins helping to preen each other. Sometimes it looks like they're kissing, but it is a little bit of a pair bonding activity or a socializing, helping each other preen because they can't reach their own heads or faces, so they do need a little bit of a helping hand. It's kind of like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, helping to preen each other. So we do often see quite a bit of that in these little penguins as they're making their way home because, there we go, some more on the highway. Even once they cross the beach, they don't need these groups, so the groups are for safety in numbers as they're making that dangerous dash across the open sand. Once they're up here on land, they are fairly safe, but they like to stay together to socialise. So you'll be hearing all those noises that Viv and I demonstrated earlier. We only did 2 noises. Viv, do you think there's any other important noises that we've missed?
Oh, that's a tricky one. What about the...
Oh, the little chip. That was a pretty good one. Probably not hearing that so much this time of year. I did hear from our research team that the last chicks down here at the Penguin Parade have fledged and headed out to sea. In our study sites, there might be some lurking around that we haven't seen, but most of them are gone now. But penguins do have a range of different calls. So I have had penguins kind of grumble at me. They kind of go brrrr when they're in their burrow and they hear you walk past and they're not too happy about it. I even had penguins hiss at me. They kind of go pss, pss, pss. They're really, really not happy because they are feisty little birds. You might think they look cute and cuddly and you'd love to take one home and have it as a pet, but these little guys are feisty. They are cute but not cuddly. What are you guys doing? They ooh, a little bit more courtship. No, she's not interested. If you do try and touch a penguin, which I would not recommend, it is illegal. They are protected species, but also they give you a pretty nasty bite. And I've handled quite a few for research purposes, or if they're sick or injured. And even a sick or injured penguin that we are taking to the wildlife clinic is often still really feisty and give you a pretty decent bite. So these guys do have a lot of personality, which is why we love them so much, because they're not just cute, they are feisty. They do have that personality. You can even see when they're walking along, some of them have a lot of confidence. They kind of strut and puff their chest out and they know exactly what they're doing. Some of them are a little bit more nervous and they're almost leaning nice and close to the ground, looking around, making sure that they're safe and there's no predators around and they're going to be safe to get home. So each little penguin's different. There is a little penguin that I quite remember, and we don't usually give our penguins names. Usually they have, if we know them, they have a microchip number, which our researchers use and can scan to see which penguin is which. Because I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I can name 40,000 penguins and remember all their names. So they have microchip numbers. But there is one penguin that I like to affectionately call Mad Max, who I got to know when I was doing some research on our little penguins, and we were checking this study site 3 times a week, and we kind of got to know the penguins that live there. And Max was the feistiest penguin that I've ever met.
That's to say the least.
Yes, because when I used to have to go out and put some trackers on penguins and walk around at night time in the colony, he would run after me and bite the bottoms of my pants and attack me. And remember, these little guys are a foot tall, so I don't know what he thought he was going to achieve, but he just had the most feisty personality out of any penguin that I'd ever met. He was maybe a little crazy, but that's what we love about these little guys. They're all different. Some of them are going to fight you, some of them are just going to run away, and some of them will just be a bit curious. They are very curious little animals, but they can definitely stand up for themselves. I'm sure a lot of you who watch regularly remember Goose Gate, our penguin and geese standoff. We've had penguins come up to see a wallaby and bite its tail. They are very, very curious, very funny little birds, and still so many coming in. Gosh, I think we probably have about 5 minutes left of this. So do we have any more questions we want to answer before we finish up?
I do. How far from the beach do they go each day?
Oh, so that really depends on where they live, so where their burrows are. So some penguins you might see here have the prime real estate down on the beachfront. So there's actually burrows right here. All these little tracks that you can see through the vegetation are penguin tracks. There's a heap of white stuff, all that penguin poo in there. So you can see they spend quite a bit of time there. So they have it really easy. They're going not far at all. They're pretty much on the beach, up to the rocks, and then they're home. Whereas some penguins will have to walk up to 2 kilometers to get back to their burrow. And that all depends on where those penguins were born. So where their parents lived, where they hatched from, and where they've gone back to make their burrows, because they're quite incredible. The chicks will fledge when they're about 8 to 10 weeks old, and then they'll spend pretty much their whole first year of life out at sea. So they'll be out there learning how to find food, learning how to be a penguin, and then after a year they'll come back to check everything out, make sure everything's still as they left it, and they'll take usually the same pathway back to the same place where they were born most of the time. And when they get to 2 to 3 years old, time to make their burrows or find a partner, they'll usually end up breeding within about 50 metres of where they were born. So they have an incredible sense of direction and an incredible memory, and they just use their eyesight to look for landmarks and pathways to find their way home. So when you see them looking around, like these little guys on the highway, they might be looking for their turn off, because a group of penguins, or a raft as we call them when they come in on the water and then up onto land, a waddle, they are random pretty much, depending on where they live. So each raft is kind of like a train full of people catching the train home from work at the end of the day. They're just penguins that are going back to the same place at the same time, and they group together for convenience on their way home. And then as they go along the highway, they'll each get off at their own little stops, depending on where they live. So some penguins are really lucky down here with the prime beachfront real estate, and some of these other guys are going to live up in the suburbs and have to walk a couple kilometres to get home, which isn't so easy, but they really don't know any different. And we did actually, our researchers went out and scanned our penguins that are now living in our burrow camera burrow, which is on our website if you want to check it out, to see who they were. One of them wasn't microchipped, so they don't live in our study site, but the other one was actually a female who was born nearby 2 years ago. So it's probably her first breeding season. She's just moved in, and she's just moved out of that study site into that brand new burrow camera burrow for her first breeding season. So we're wishing her all the best, and it's really interesting and really helpful to be able to microchip only less than 5% of our penguins, because there are so many, but so that we can monitor them and we can tell you all these really interesting facts and learn all about them. And it's really important, so not so just so that we can tell you all about them, because we love knowing the fantastic penguin facts, but so that we can help protect them, because if we know where they're living, we know their life cycle, we know where they're feeding out at sea, that means that we can help protect their homes here on land and their home out in the ocean, because really it is where they spend most of their time, is when they are out at sea. And as we're nearing the end, I do hope you've all taken a moment to click on the link in the description and make a donation, however small or big you feel you can manage, to the Good Friday appeal. We really do want to help out the Royal Children's Hospital this Easter to look after those families who do need their help and rely on the Royal Children's Hospital to help them get through some really tough times, like Amelia, helping her through that really, really tough ordeal we hope that no one ever has to deal with. But the Royal Children's Hospital is a really great resource that we want to support to continue doing the really fantastic work that they do there. So I think we might leave it at that. If you have your questions in the comments and we haven't got to answer them, we will hopefully get to those eventually. If we can't, check out our website. We have lots of great penguin facts for you there, lots of great penguin information. Hopefully it's not too long before we do another live Penguin TV, because we do certainly love bringing the penguins to you guys in your own homes, especially when it's for a very special cause like it is tonight. There are also lots of events happening if you are in Melbourne for the Good Friday appeal tomorrow and over the Easter long weekend. So I do encourage you to check out their website if you did want to participate in any of those events and do anything a little bit more to help out the Royal Children's Hospital. All right, so before we finish up, do you have anything else to add, Viv?
No, I don't. I just want to again say thank you, and a big thank you to Amelia and Nadia for taking time out of their night to come chat to us about the Good Friday appeal. It was absolutely lovely to hear about the good.
We felt so special to have you guys
had
here.
from them.
Yeah. It's really great to see what a difference they make firsthand, having those guys come and talk to us.
Absolutely.
So yes, thank you Nadia and Amelia for joining us. And thank you all for watching Live Penguin TV tonight, and thank you so much everyone who donated to the Good Friday appeal and hopefully continues to do so over Good Friday, which is tomorrow. We hope you all have a safe and happy Easter weekend, and eat lots of chocolate. Hope that the Easter barred bandicoot comes and visits you. And I think we'll leave you with a hug.
Yeah,
Shall we, Viv?
We always
All right. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.